So there was a new Simpsons episode called Clan of the Cave Mom, and it strongly parodied Genndy Tartakovsky's Primal. I was surprised by this because I feel like, and I'm not a hater of newer Simpsons, I think it's actually pretty good presently, but I don't think The Simpsons is really in conversation with other, and like what's going on in animation outside of like Fox or whatever. So I was surprised when I heard they were parodying Primal, and so I wanted to watch this episode. And the Primal parody, because it cuts between The Simpsons as like cave people and Homer basically as Spear from Primal, and Marge is like a cave woman and all that stuff, and you see them like fight with dinosaurs, and you see all sorts of stuff. And Homer, there's one point Homer does the run just like Spear does, or the guy in Primal basically. It feels like he doesn't have a name, but he does the run. That's a direct parody, and like that part is the best part of the episode. But here's the thing about this episode is the idea is you have half in the modern world and half in this caveman world, and you're cutting between the two. And I guess the idea is how this relates to modern times. And I think that's true. It could, but the modern thing just does not relate to it at all. And it feels like just they slapped this on a random episode. The idea of having it cut between the Primal parody stuff or homage or whatever and the modern thing is a cool idea, and I think you could get it to work. And I think there's a lot of things as a parent, there are family stuff that obviously I'm not fighting wolves to protect my family and feed them and stuff, but you could probably come up with something that'd be like entertaining or like haha, this is what we are now versus then and stuff. But instead of that, it's about how Bart was invited to like a reggaeton concert basically, I guess. Maybe. I don't want to say Bad Bunny, but it's like someone who's like in Spanish rapping, basically. It's not Bad Bunny or someone I had heard of, but he was gonna go with Milhouse, but then like Milhouse's mom says it's a bad example, and Marge gets upset, and it's like this weird competition over this concert and who can get like the better tickets, and somehow they like that relates to cave people. I don't understand what this episode is trying to say, and I don't think it makes any fucking sense, and I think they blew a pretty cool episode. And the Primal stuff is like, it's the most off model they've been since the 90s. It's actually interesting to do something with, and they totally blow it with the modern thing, because it's like, oh well, her trying to find these tickets is versus Luann is like her fighting the wolf, and I'm like, no it's not. And it's really unrelatable, and it hurts this episode so strongly. I really think they took something that could have been really interesting and really cool and fucked it up for reasons I don't understand. Like this is a major misstep with a really great structure of an episode. It kind of annoys me that they screwed this up, because it could have been a really cool episode. Like, I don't know, just like just today I was thinking, like, I'm rushing to get my kids to like daycare and school and all this stuff, and you could have had that be like a similar, like a jokey thing, like not necessarily my idea, but like you rushing the kids to stuff, much like you're like trying to protect the kids, and like had like that analogies, and there's certain things you could do. But this is like, what does this concert have to do with that? Like, it just does not work at all. And it really annoys me that it's like you have this cool animation, you have a cool idea of an episode, and like, what is this? Like, is Luann the wolf? Like, she's not coming after Homer. Like, I really don't get what it's trying to do at all. I honestly think it was a big disappointment writing wise, because they did not have a point. Like, the point is we have this episode with this cutaway to this prehistoric stuff that's a Primal thing, and they didn't think of like how to cut it between. Like, it does a couple people say like it's like feels like two separate episodes. It really did. It felt like two mixed together for no reason, and it's like you could have done something so interesting, or a little interesting, or somewhat of a point, or like make fun of how modern life is, and instead it's like, what was going on? Like, were you just short and you're like, oh, see, we'll show the difference, but like it really just did not work. They just did not belong together. They messed this up. I think the Primal stuff is really, really good, but everything else is everything about the writing and like what it's trying to say, it just flat out doesn't work, and it's a total disaster. They messed it up, so I think that's disappointing. I think they had a real chance to do something more interesting than we typically see from The Simpsons presently, and I don't know what they thought they were going to do with that. I think The Simpsons really had a chance to do something that we'd be surprised that they were doing, and instead of doing that, they gave us this. I think the Primal parody is really cool. I hope they try to do something more like that, and try to be different, and I applaud them for doing that. But I think one of the things that we love about Simpsons is not just the visuals, it's the writing and the points they would make. And this episode makes no point whatsoever other than they can do a cool Primal parody. Good for you, but the episode almost acts like you're making a point. And when you don't make it at all, I'm sorry, I very much question your writing skills that you were not able to figure out a way to get these two plot lines to work when you just mush two things together and hoping, like, I hope this sort of works out for us. It really messes up a really ambitious idea and makes it feel sort of meaningless at a time, I think, in the show's legacy that we could have really kind of used a really great episode like this. I found it overall a disappointing experiment, but I did like the Primal parody stuff. I thought that was really good. It's unfortunate it has to be a part of this episode.